In 2015, the Denver Mint was bustling with activity, producing coins that would travel the breadth of the nation, slipping into pockets, vending machines, and cash registers. Among these, the Jefferson 5-cent coin held a unique position. Its design, first introduced in 1938, carried the likeness of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and the iconic Monticello on the reverse. Over the decades, subtle redesigns kept the coin relevant, but its role as a quiet, unassuming part of daily commerce remained unchanged. For most people, the 2015 Jefferson nickel was no more remarkable than its predecessors, a simple workhorse of the American economy. But hidden in the sheer volume of its production was an anomaly, a deviation from perfection, that would later send ripples through the world of coin collecting. The Denver Mint struck over 1 billion nickels in 2015, each undergoing rigorous quality control checks. Yet, as with any mass production process, errors occasionally slipped through. Most were minor, misalignments, weak strikes, or planchet flaws that rarely caught the public's attention. But every so often, a truly unique mistake emerged, one so subtle yet distinct that it transformed an ordinary coin into a numismatic treasure. For years, this error went unnoticed, blending into the flow of everyday transactions. The coin passed through countless hands, its anomaly hidden in plain sight. It wasn't until a dedicated collector named Alex Monroe stumbled upon it that its true story began to unfold. Alex was no stranger to coin collecting. A former history teacher, he had an eye for detail and an insatiable curiosity for the stories coins could tell. His weekends were often spent at flea markets, estate sales, and coin shops, searching for pieces that spoke to him. On one such weekend, Alex found himself at a small coin show in Colorado. While sifting through a dealer's bulk bin of loose nickels, a 2015 D. Jefferson nickel caught his attention, not for its condition, but for something almost imperceptible. Under normal light, the coin looked like any other from its year. But as Alex turned it under his loupe, he noticed a peculiar distortion on the obverse. The letters "In God We Trust" appeared doubled, not in the sharp, mechanical way of common machine doubling, but with a rounded, ghostly echo that suggested a doubled die. His breath quickened as he examined the date. The 5 in 2015 had a faint yet distinct shadow. The reverse was equally intriguing. The steps of Monticello, usually sharp and uniform, were uneven, as though struck with a slight shift. Alex couldn't believe what he was seeing. A doubled die on a modern coin was rare enough, but the precision of this error hinted at something extraordinary. He bought the coin for 50 cents, barely containing his excitement as he headed home to research his find. His first stop was the internet, where he scoured forums and auction sites for mentions of a 2015 D. Jefferson nickel error. Nothing. He dug through his reference books, but even the most comprehensive guides were silent on the matter. Was it possible he had stumbled upon a previously undocumented error? Determined to validate his discovery, Alex reached out to a trusted grading service. Weeks passed, the anticipation nearly unbearable, before the coin returned, encased in a clear plastic slab. The label confirmed his suspicions: 2015 D. Jefferson nickel, doubled die obverse. His heart raced as he realized the implications. This wasn't just an error coin, it was likely the first of its kind to be documented. News of Alex's find spread quickly among collectors. At first, there was skepticism. Could such a significant error have gone unnoticed for so long? But as high-resolution images of the coin surfaced, doubt gave way to fascination. The doubling on the obverse was precise, almost elegant, while the irregularities on the reverse added a layer of mystery. More collectors began examining their 2015 nickels, and a handful of similar examples emerged. Though none matched the clarity and condition of Alex's coin, the value of the coin skyrocketed. At its first public auction, it fetched $5,000, a staggering sum for a modern nickel. Subsequent sales saw even higher bids, especially as the error's rarity became more evident. What set this coin apart wasn't just the error itself but the context. In an era of advanced minting technology, such mistakes were exceedingly rare, making each one a snapshot of imperfection in an otherwise precise process. Theories about the error's origin abounded. Some suggested that a misaligned hub during die creation caused the doubling, while others speculated about a momentary lapse in the Denver Mint's typically stringent quality control. Without official acknowledgement from the Mint, the exact cause remained a mystery, adding to the coin's allure. Then came the twist. Months after Alex's discovery, another collector found a 2015 D Jefferson nickel with a similar doubling, but this coin had a unique feature: a die clash. Faint outlines of Monticello appeared on the obverse, overlapping Jefferson's profile. This revelation added a new layer of complexity to the story. Could the doubling and the die clash be connected? Had the mint inadvertently used the same flawed die for multiple production runs? Experts examined the coin side by side and confirmed that both bore the same die markers, including a tiny die crack near Jefferson's collar. This meant that the two coins were struck from the same die, cementing their place in numismatic history. For Alex, the journey was transformative. His modest collection, once a hobby, became the centerpiece of national attention. The 2015 D. Jefferson nickel, once overlooked and unremarkable, had become a symbol of how the smallest imperfections could hold the greatest value. Today, the coin's story continues to captivate collectors, a testament to the mysteries hidden in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone to notice. In 2018, the Philadelphia Mint operated with precision, efficiency, and the weight of history pressing against every coin it struck. Among the most common denominations to leave its presses was the Jefferson nickel, a coin so ordinary in daily circulation that few gave it a second glance. Featuring Thomas Jefferson's stately portrait on the obverse and his Monticello home on the reverse, it had become a fixture in American commerce. Over 1 billion nickels were minted that year at Philadelphia alone, each one bearing the small but clear P mint mark, signifying its origin. And among them, tucked within a sea of sameness, was one that broke the pattern, a single piece that slipped through unnoticed, hiding an error that would later cause a seismic shift in the world of collectors. It was early spring, nearly a year later, when a man named Howard, a semi-retired engineer and part-time coin enthusiast, walked into a nondescript estate sale in Lancaster County. He wasn't hunting for anything in particular, just browsing through forgotten trunks, discarded books, and coffee cans filled with old change. One such can sat on a dusty table, marked simply "Loose Coins, $5. As Howard sifted through the nickels, dimes, and tarnished pennies, something about one nickel gave him pause. It wasn't its luster, because it had none. In fact, it looked worn, almost too worn for a coin barely a year old. But its surface had an odd ripple, a distortion of light that pulled at Howard's curiosity. He didn't hesitate to buy the can. That night, under his magnifying lamp, he examined the coin more closely. What he initially thought was where suddenly looked like doubling. The word "Liberty," just to the right of Jefferson's profile, had a distinct shadow. The letters appeared duplicated, not haphazardly, but with the rounded, exact echo of a doubled die. He blinked, leaned in closer. Even the date, 2018, showed the same phenomenon. The 8 was ghosted beside itself, and the 2 had a crescent-like edge overlapping the main strike. On the reverse, Monticello's steps, normally well-defined, were blurred, uneven, as if the image had jumped slightly. Howard's hands trembled, not from age, but from the shock of what he might be holding. He'd been collecting coins casually for decades, but this was different. This was something special. Still, he knew better than to assume. Coins often misled eager eyes. He spent hours scouring online databases and forums, searching for mentions of a 2018 P double die Jefferson nickel. Nothing. The error hadn't been catalogued. No official recognition. No collector chatter. Could he be the first to find it? He decided to send it in for authentication. Weeks passed in a blur of anticipation. When the envelope finally arrived, he took a long breath before tearing it open. The grating slab inside was clear and sharp: 2018 P. Jefferson nickel, double die obverse, MS65. His pulse quickened. Mint state 65. Verified. Genuine. Rare. The authentication alone changed everything. Word spread fast among dedicated collectors. Blogs picked up the story. The coin was photographed, analyzed, compared against standard 2018 P nickels. Error specialists dissected the doubling, its angles, its spacing, the absence of mechanical flaws like die bounce or strike doubling. This wasn't a common minting anomaly. This was a double die, and more importantly, it was a double die no one had officially documented before. Collectors began digging into their own change jars, hoping to find another. A few surfaced, some worn, some scratched, but each carrying the same telltale signs. But none matched the clarity or preservation of Howard's coin. The MS-65 specimen became a benchmark. And slowly, its value began to rise. At first, offers were modest, $100, then $250. But as its reputation grew, so did the numbers. A private collector offered $1,000. Then, during a regional coin show in Pittsburgh, Howard was approached by a museum representative offering to acquire the coin for their modern-era collection. The offer? $3,700. Howard declined, curious to see just how far this would go. The mystery only deepened when an amateur metallurgist contacted him after studying high-res images of the coin. He pointed out a microscopic die crack running from Jefferson's chin to the collar, nearly invisible to the naked eye, but clearly present under magnification. This die crack, he proposed, helped identify the precise moment in the production cycle when the error occurred. And here's where the twist began to form: a second error coin had been found in Ohio. It bore the same doubling. The same date. But it had no die crack. That meant one thing: two different dies had produced the same error. That was nearly unheard of. Double dies, by their nature, are tied to a specific die. But this suggested a broader production flaw, possibly linked to a master hub misalignment. If the hub itself was misaligned, multiple dies would carry the flaw, and therefore, many more coins might exist, undiscovered, sitting in drawers, in jars, waiting. The value of Howard's coin jumped again. Collectors knew that while more might exist, none had the combination of strong doubling, pristine surfaces, and the unique die crack. It wasn't just a rare coin, it was the firstborn of a new anomaly. Auction houses took interest. A listing went live. The bid started at $2,000. Within 24 hours, it climbed past $5,000. By the time the final gavel fell, the coin had sold for $8,750, a staggering sum for a modern nickel less than a decade old. Howard was stunned, not just by the money, but by the journey. A coin he'd bought in a dusty estate sale for mere pennies had become a legend in its own right. It was no longer just about the error, or the value. It was about discovery. About being the one to notice what others missed. As for the 2018 P. Jefferson nickel, it now holds a strange place in numismatic circles. Not officially recognized by the U.S. Mint in any public report, yet undeniably verified through private grading and mounting evidence. More specimens trickle in each year, yet none command the awe of the original. Even now, collectors whisper about a rumored third variant, one with the doubling, but on a proof strike. If found, it could change everything again. Until then, the story of the 2018 P. Jefferson nickel remains a reminder that rarity doesn't always come with age. Sometimes, it lies quietly in the modern world, waiting for the right eyes to see.